The restaurant was warm and inviting, its soft lighting casting a romantic glow over the evening. I sat at our favorite table, fidgeting with my napkin, waiting for Kate to arrive. It was our 5th wedding anniversary, and I had planned everything down to the last detail. The bouquet of red roses lay on the table, their fragrance mingling with the aroma of delicious food being prepared in the kitchen. I glanced at my watch, a touch of nervousness creeping in as I wondered what was keeping her. Just then, my phone buzzed with a notification. Thinking it might be Kate, I eagerly pulled it out, but instead, it was a message from a dating app I had installed out of curiosity a few weeks ago. "You have a 100% match," the notification blared. I rolled my eyes, about to dismiss it, when the profile picture caught my attention. My breath hitched. It was Kate. My mind raced as I stared at the screen. There she was, my wife, with a profile that proclaimed she was looking for adventure and new experiences. I couldn't believe it. Maybe it was a mistake, a doppelganger. But the photos were unmistakable. They were the same ones from our recent vacation. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach as reality began to sink in. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I left the restaurant, the night I had meticulously planned suddenly feeling like a cruel joke. I drove home, my thoughts a whirlwind of disbelief and anger. Once inside, I booted up my computer and logged into the dating site. I searched for her profile, my hands trembling. And there she was again, Kate, active and looking for someone new. My initial shock turned into a cold, methodical determination. I had to find out how far this betrayal went. I created a fake profile under the name Jack, using photos of a man I thought would catch her interest. Attractive, successful, everything she might be looking for in this adventure. To my dismay and fury, it worked. Within minutes of sending her a message, she replied. We started chatting, and it became alarmingly clear how easily she was drawn into this flirtation. Each new message was a dagger to my heart, but I pushed on, my resolve hardening with each exchange. Days passed, and our conversations grew more intimate. Finally, I suggested we meet. Kate agreed without hesitation, setting a date and a place at a hotel out of town. I meticulously planned my steps, ensuring she wouldn't recognize me until the right moment. The day of the meeting arrived. I watched as Kate dressed with extra care, packing a small suitcase. My heart ached, but I followed her, determined to see this through. She arrived at the hotel and checked in, and I made my move, entering the building from a different entrance. I stood outside her room, listening to her talk on the phone, reassuring someone that her husband was clueless. My blood boiled, but I took a deep breath and knocked on the door, hiding my face and posing as hotel staff. She opened the door, her expression turning to shock as I stepped inside and revealed myself. Her eyes widened in horror. "What are you doing here?" she stammered, but I cut her off, pulling out printed copies of our chat history. "So this is how you spend our anniversaries, Kate," I said, my voice trembling with a mix of rage and pain. She tried to explain, but I wasn't interested in her excuses. Leaving her in the hotel room, I walked out, the cool night air doing little to calm my storming thoughts. This was far from over. I had to plan my next move, something that would make her feel even a fraction of the betrayal I was experiencing. In the following days, I gathered all the evidence of her infidelity and started preparing for the ultimate confrontation. Divorce papers were drawn up, but that was just the beginning. I planned a party, inviting all our friends and family, under the guise of celebrating our anniversary. The day of the party arrived, and I felt a mix of dread and grim satisfaction. Everyone gathered in our home, laughing and chatting, unaware of the storm about to break. As the evening reached its peak, I called for attention and played the video I had prepared, displaying the photos and messages that Kate thought were private. Kate's face turned white as she tried to flee, but I blocked her path. "You need to see this through," I said coldly. The room fell silent as the video played, each second dragging out the tension. When it ended, I announced our divorce, leaving Kate sobbing and humiliated. I walked out of the room, feeling a hollow victory. The deed was done, and the consequences were set in motion. Now, all that was left was to pick up the pieces of my shattered life and start anew. The silence of my car ride back from the hotel was deafening. The rush of adrenaline had dissipated, leaving me with a hollow, aching void. I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed. My wife, the woman I had vowed to spend my life with, had betrayed me so effortlessly. But instead of wallowing in self-pity, I felt a steely resolve taking over. Kate needed to understand the gravity of her actions, and I was going to make sure of it. The next few days were a blur of sleepless nights and relentless planning. I sifted through the digital traces of Kate's deceit, meticulously collecting every piece of evidence. Each message, each photo, and each interaction was cataloged and stored. I printed copies and saved digital backups, ensuring I had an ironclad case. I needed a way to confront Kate without tipping her off. My fake profile as Jack had already proven effective. I refined the profile, making it even more appealing, and adding details that I knew would attract her further. I updated the photos, making sure Jack seemed like the perfect escape from her mundane reality. I resumed my interaction with Kate as Jack. She was eager to continue our chats, completely unaware of the trap closing around her. Our conversations became increasingly personal, and she confided in Jack about her dissatisfaction with our marriage. Each word stung, but I kept my composure, responding in ways that encouraged her to reveal more. After a few days of intense conversation, I suggested another meeting, this time under the guise of a romantic getaway. She jumped at the opportunity, her excitement palpable. We set the date and location, a cozy inn on the outskirts of town. She had no idea what awaited her. The night before the planned meeting, I installed a small camera in the living room, hidden among the decorations. I needed to capture her preparations, to have undeniable proof of her intentions. As I watched her pack the next morning, my heart ached, but I steeled myself. This was necessary. While Kate was at work, I transformed our home. I set up a large screen and a projector in the living room. I arranged the printed messages and photos around the room, like pieces of a grotesque puzzle. This was going to be the setting for the final confrontation. On the day of the meeting, I followed Kate once more, ensuring she went to the inn as planned. Once I was certain she had checked in, I returned home to finalize my preparations. The projector hummed softly, ready to display the evidence. The documents were neatly stacked, waiting for their moment. I sent out invitations to our friends and family, inviting them to a special celebration at our house that evening. I made sure to sound upbeat and excited, hiding the turmoil boiling inside me. Most people confirmed their attendance, eager to join what they thought was an anniversary celebration. As the hours ticked by, I double-checked everything. The camera feed was working, the projector was set up, and the evidence was in place. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. This was it, the moment of truth. Friends and family started arriving, filling our home with laughter and chatter. I greeted each guest, forcing a smile, my mind racing with anticipation. Kate was on her way back, oblivious to the ambush awaiting her. Once everyone was settled with drinks and snacks, I called for attention. "Thank you all for coming to this special celebration," I began, my voice steady. "But before we continue, there's something important I need to share with you all." I dimmed the lights and turned on the projector. The first images appeared on the screen. The profile pictures, the flirtatious messages, the plans for the rendezvous. Gasps filled the room as the reality of what they were seeing sank in. Kate walked in just as the messages started playing, her face a mask of confusion that quickly turned to horror. Kate's eyes darted around the room, taking in the shocked faces of our friends and family. "What is this?" she cried, but I cut her off, pointing to the screen. "This is the truth, Kate. This is what you've been doing behind my back." Tears streamed down Kate's face as she tried to defend herself, but the evidence was overwhelming. Our friends and family looked on, stunned and silent. I stepped forward, holding the divorce papers. "It's over, Kate," I said quietly. "You betrayed me, and now everyone knows." Kate collapsed into a chair, sobbing uncontrollably. I turned away, the weight of the confrontation lifting slightly from my shoulders. The room was filled with whispers and murmurings as people tried to process what they had just witnessed. I walked out of the house, leaving Kate and the remnants of our shattered marriage behind. The night air was cool and refreshing, a stark contrast to the suffocating tension inside. I knew this was just the beginning of a long, painful journey, but at least now I had taken the first step. As I drove away, I felt a strange mix of emotions. The future was uncertain, but I was free from the deceit and betrayal that had poisoned my life. It was time to rebuild, to find a path forward without Kate. The road ahead would be difficult, but I was ready to face it, one step at a time. The days following the explosive revelation were a haze of disbelief, anger, and overwhelming sadness. The house felt like a mausoleum of broken dreams, every corner a reminder of the life I thought I had. Kate had left, unable to face the fallout, and I was left alone to sort through the wreckage. Friends and family reached out, offering support, but their pity was suffocating. I needed to distance myself from the sympathetic whispers and the lingering scent of betrayal. I threw myself into work, the steady rhythm of my job providing a welcome distraction from the chaos at home. Yet every quiet moment was a brutal reminder of the emptiness that now filled my life. My colleagues, unaware of the personal turmoil, noticed my distraction but attributed it to stress. I let them believe it, preferring their casual concern to the invasive sympathy of those who knew the truth. One evening, as I sat alone in our empty living room, I decided it was time to take the next step. I reached out to a divorce attorney, arranging a meeting to discuss the legal proceedings. The attorney, a stern but empathetic woman named Lisa, listened carefully as I recounted the events leading up to the confrontation. She assured me that we had a strong case, especially with the evidence I had gathered. Her professionalism and clear advice were a beacon of clarity in the murky confusion of my emotions. The legal process moved forward swiftly. I felt a mixture of relief and sorrow as I signed the papers, each stroke of the pen severing another tie to the life I had known. Lisa assured me that I was making the right decision and that this was the first step toward healing and moving on. But the void inside me seemed to grow with each passing day. Amidst the legalities, I decided it was time to reclaim my space. I spent a weekend clearing out the house, packing away reminders of our life together. It was a painful process, each item a relic of happier times. I boxed up her belongings and left them for her to collect, a silent but firm declaration that our shared life was over. One evening, as I sifted through old photographs, I found a picture from our honeymoon. We were on a beach, smiling and carefree, the future bright and full of promise. I felt a pang of loss, but also a spark of determination. That person I was, the one filled with hope and joy, was still inside me somewhere. I just needed to find him again. I reached out to old friends, reconnecting with people I had lost touch with over the years. Their genuine happiness to hear from me was a balm for my wounded heart. I started going out more, accepting invitations to dinners and events, slowly rebuilding a social life that had withered under the strain of a failing marriage. One night, at a friend's gathering, I met Emily. She was vibrant and kind, with a warm smile that reached her eyes. We talked for hours, sharing stories and laughing in a way I hadn't in what felt like years. There was no immediate spark of romance, but there was a connection, a reminder that I could still enjoy someone's company. Emily and I began to see more of each other, our friendship a source of comfort and joy. She knew about my situation and offered a listening ear without judgment or pity. Her presence was a light in the darkness, a reminder that life could be good again. As the weeks turned into months, the wounds began to heal. The divorce was finalized, the legal ties severed, and I felt a sense of closure. Kate tried to reach out once, seeking forgiveness or perhaps reconciliation, but I knew that chapter of my life was over. I had no desire to reopen old wounds. Emily and I continued to grow closer, our friendship slowly blossoming into something more. It was a cautious, gradual process, both of us aware of the scars we carried. But there was a sweetness to it, a feeling of new beginnings and second chances. Looking back, the journey from discovery to healing had been tumultuous and painful, but it had also been a journey of growth and rediscovery. I had found strength I didn't know I possessed and had rebuilt a life that felt genuinely mine. The betrayal that had shattered my world had also forced me to confront and overcome challenges I never thought I could face. As I stood on the threshold of this new chapter, Hand in hand with Emily, I felt a renewed sense of hope. The future was uncertain, but it was also filled with possibility, and for the first time in a long while, I was ready to embrace it. Months passed since the finalization of the divorce, and I found myself navigating the complexities of a new life. The initial shock had subsided, replaced by a cautious optimism. Emily was a constant source of support and comfort, her presence a balm for my wounded heart. We spent more time together, and gradually, what started as a friendship deepened into something more profound. One evening, we decided to take a trip to a small cabin by the lake. It was a chance to escape the hustle of the city and the lingering shadows of the past. The cabin was cozy and inviting, nestled among towering trees and overlooking the serene waters of the lake. As we settled in, the tranquility of the place began to seep into my soul, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a true sense of peace. We spent our days hiking through the forest, exploring the natural beauty surrounding us. The fresh air and physical exertion were invigorating, a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil of the previous months. Emily and I talked for hours, sharing our hopes, fears, and dreams. Our connection was simple, a genuine understanding that made every moment feel special. One afternoon, as we sat by the lake, the sun casting a golden glow over the water, Emily turned to me with a serious expression. "I know you've been through a lot, and I want you to know that I'm here for you no matter what," she said softly. Her words touched me deeply, and I felt a rush of gratitude and affection. "I appreciate that more than you know," I replied, taking her hand in mine. "You've been my rock through all of this. I don't know where I'd be without you." She smiled, squeezing my hand gently. "We're in this together," she said. "Let's take it one step at a time." That evening, we built a fire in the cabin's fireplace and curled up on the couch with mugs of hot cocoa. The warmth of the fire and the comfort of Emily's presence made the world outside feel distant and unimportant. We talked late into the night, our conversation ranging from lighthearted banter to deeper, more introspective topics. It was during one of these quiet moments that I realized how much I had come to rely on her, not just as a friend, but as a partner. As the days went by, our bond grew stronger. We discovered new facets of each other, and the initial spark of attraction blossomed into a deep and abiding love. The lake trip marked a turning point, a confirmation that we were building something real and lasting. Back in the city, we decided to move in together. It was a big step, but one that felt right. Emily's apartment was small but cozy, and we spent weekends rearranging furniture and decorating the space to make it our own. Each change, no matter how small, felt like a step toward a new beginning. Our life together wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when the shadows of the past threatened to overshadow our happiness, but we faced them head-on, supporting each other through the tough times. Emily's unwavering support gave me the strength to confront my fears and insecurities, and I learned to open up to her in ways I hadn't with anyone before. Work became a source of stability, and I poured my energy into new projects and opportunities. The distraction was welcome, and I found a renewed sense of purpose in my career. My colleagues noticed the change, and their encouragement bolstered my confidence. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, I came home to find Emily waiting with a special dinner prepared. The table was set with candles, and the smell of delicious food filled the apartment. She greeted me with a warm smile and a kiss, and I felt a wave of love and appreciation wash over me. "I thought we could celebrate," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "What's the occasion?" I asked, intrigued. She handed me a small envelope. Inside was a note inviting me to a weekend getaway, another chance to escape the city and spend quality time together. "I booked us a cabin in the mountains," she said. "Just the two of us." I was touched by her thoughtfulness and the effort she put into planning the trip. "This is perfect," I said, pulling her into a hug. "Thank you." The weekend in the mountains was magical. The crisp mountain air and stunning views provided a perfect backdrop for our deepening connection. We spent our days exploring the trails and our nights wrapped in each other's arms, talking about our future and dreaming about what lay ahead. It was during one of these quiet nights, as we lay under a blanket of stars, that I realized how far I had come. The pain and betrayal of the past had shaped me, but they no longer defined me. With Emily by my side, I felt a sense of wholeness and contentment I hadn't thought possible. The journey from heartbreak to healing had been arduous, but it had also been transformative. I had discovered strength and resilience within myself, and I had found love again in the most unexpected place. Emily had been my anchor, my guide through the storm, and now, as we faced the future together, I felt ready for whatever life might bring. Our love had been forged in the fires of adversity, and it was stronger for it. As I looked into Emily's eyes, I knew that we were building something beautiful and enduring. The future was bright, and for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful. Life had settled into a comfortable rhythm with Emily. The initial turbulence of post-divorce life had given way to a steady, reassuring normalcy. We navigated the ups and downs together, each day strengthening the bond we had built. My job was fulfilling, our apartment felt like a true home, and the future seemed promising. Yet, as much as I cherished our life, I couldn't ignore the occasional moments of doubt and insecurity that surfaced. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, I found myself alone in the apartment. Emily was out with friends, and the quiet felt both soothing and unsettling. As I flipped through the channels, my mind began to wander, revisiting the painful memories of Kate's betrayal. Despite the happiness I had found with Emily, the scars from my past still lingered, resurfacing when I least expected. I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The cool night air was refreshing, and I wandered through the familiar streets, eventually finding myself in front of a small, cozy bar. I stepped inside, the warm ambiance and soft music providing a welcome distraction. I ordered a drink and sat at the bar, lost in thought. As I sipped my drink, a familiar face appeared at the entrance. It was Kate. She looked different, tired, worn out, but there was no mistaking her. She saw me and hesitated, then approached with a tentative smile. "Hey, Mark," she said softly. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion flooding my senses. "Kate," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "What are you doing here?" "I was meeting a friend, but I saw you and thought maybe we could talk," she said, her eyes pleading. I hesitated, then nodded. "All right, but just for a few minutes." We found a quiet corner, and Kate began to speak. She apologized for everything, expressing regret for the pain she had caused. She talked about her life since the divorce, the struggles she faced, and how she had been working on herself. Her words were filled with remorse, and while part of me wanted to dismiss them, another part couldn't help but feel a twinge of sympathy. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "I just needed you to know how sorry I am. I've made so many mistakes, and I wish I could take them back." I listened quietly, processing her words. The anger and hurt I had carried for so long began to fade, replaced by a sense of closure. "I appreciate your apology, Kate," I said finally, "but we've both moved on. I'm happy now, and I hope you can find happiness too." Kate nodded, wiping away her tears. "Thank you, Mark. I hope you find everything you deserve." As she left, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The encounter, while unexpected, had given me a sense of peace. I finished my drink and headed home, feeling a newfound clarity. Emily was waiting for me when I returned, her concern evident. "Is everything okay?" she asked, pulling me into a hug. "Yeah, everything's fine," I said, holding her close. "I just ran into Kate and we talked. It was closure." Emily nodded, understanding in her eyes. "I'm glad, Mark. You deserve to be free from all that." We spent the rest of the evening talking, reaffirming our commitment to each other. The conversation with Kate reminded me of how far I had come and how much I valued the life I was building with Emily. Over the next few weeks, I noticed a change in myself. The lingering doubts and insecurities began to fade, replaced by a growing confidence in our future. Emily and I talked more openly about our dreams and aspirations, making plans that felt exciting and attainable. One sunny afternoon, while we were out for a walk in the park, I felt a surge of love and certainty. We stopped by a quiet pond, and I turned to Emily, taking her hands in mine. "Emily, I know we've both been through a lot, but I can't imagine my life without you." You've been my rock, my joy, and my partner in every sense of the word. I love you more than words can express." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she smiled, her grip tightening on my hands. "I love you too, Mark, more than anything." At that moment, I realized that the past no longer held power over me. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. As we walked hand in hand, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. The journey from heartbreak to healing had been long and arduous, but it had also been transformative. With Emily by my side, I felt ready to embrace the future with an open heart and an unshakable confidence. Together, we would build a life filled with love, trust, and endless adventure. Months had passed since my unexpected encounter with Kate, and life with Emily had only grown richer and more fulfilling. We found joy in the simple routines of everyday life, from cooking dinner together to lazy Sunday mornings spent in bed. The painful memories of the past had faded, replaced by a deep and abiding love that carried us through even the toughest days. One evening, as we sat on the balcony of our apartment, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, Emily turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Mark, I've been thinking about something," she said, her voice soft. I took her hand in mine, sensing the seriousness of her tone. "What is it, Emily?" She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. "I think it's time we take the next step in our relationship. I love you, and I want to build a future with you. Have you thought about what that might look like?" Her words filled me with a warm, overwhelming sense of love and commitment. I had been thinking about the same thing, but hearing her say it brought a rush of emotions. "I have, Emily," I replied, my voice steady. "I want that too. I want to spend my life with you." We spent the rest of the evening talking about our future, sharing dreams and making plans. We discussed everything from moving to a larger apartment to possibly starting a family. The conversation flowed naturally, each idea building on the last, creating a vivid picture of the life we wanted to share. One weekend, we decided to visit a nearby town known for its beautiful countryside and quaint charm. It was a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. We rented a small cottage and spent our days exploring the rolling hills and picturesque villages. It was during one of these strolls, as we walked hand in hand through a sun-dappled forest, that I felt a sudden surge of certainty. I stopped and turned to Emily, my heart pounding. "Emily, there's something I need to ask you," I said, my voice trembling slightly. She looked at me with wide, curious eyes. "What is it, Mark?" I took a deep breath, reaching into my pocket and pulling out a small velvet box. "Emily, you've brought so much joy and love into my life. You've stood by me through everything, and I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked at the ring and then back at me. "Yes, Mark," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Yes, I will marry you." I slipped the ring onto her finger, and we embraced, the world around us fading into a blur of happiness and love. The future stretched out before us, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of a life built together. We returned to the city with a renewed sense of purpose, our engagement marking the beginning of an exciting new chapter. We began planning our wedding, choosing a beautiful venue on the outskirts of town, surrounded by nature. The preparations were a whirlwind of activity, but we tackled each task together, our bond growing stronger with every decision made. As the wedding day approached, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had brought me here. The pain and betrayal of the past seemed like distant memories, overshadowed by the love and happiness I had found with Emily. She had not only helped me heal, but had shown me the true meaning of partnership and commitment. On a sunny autumn day, surrounded by friends and family, Emily and I exchanged our vows. The ceremony was simple and heartfelt, a celebration of our love and the journey we had undertaken together. As I looked into her eyes, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy. This was the beginning of a new adventure, one that we would face side by side. Our honeymoon was a blissful escape to a secluded beach, where we spent our days basking in the sun and our nights under a canopy of stars. It was a perfect start to our married life, a time to reflect on our love and dream about the future. Returning home, we settled into our new roles as husband and wife, finding comfort and joy in the everyday moments we shared. Our lives were intertwined in the most beautiful ways, each day bringing new opportunities to grow and learn together. As time went on, we continued to build our future, facing challenges and celebrating triumphs. We supported each other through career changes, health scares, and the inevitable ups and downs of life. Our love was a constant, a steady force that carried us through even the darkest times. Eventually, we decided to start a family, a decision that brought its own set of joys and challenges. The arrival of our first child was a moment of profound happiness, a new life that symbolized the love and commitment we had built together. Parenthood was a journey filled with sleepless nights and endless worries, but also with indescribable joy and fulfillment. Looking back, I realized how far I had come since that fateful day when I discovered Kate's betrayal. The pain and heartbreak had been overwhelming, but it had also set me on a path to healing and self-discovery. Through it all, Emily had been my anchor, my partner, and my greatest source of strength. Our life together was a testament to the power of love and resilience. We had faced our share of challenges, but we had come out stronger, more connected, and deeply in love. The future was still unwritten, but with Emily by my side, I knew we could face anything that came our way. As I held our child in my arms, Emily by my side, I felt a profound sense of peace and contentment. This was the life I had always dreamed of, a life built on love, trust, and endless possibilities. And as we looked to the future, I knew that together we could conquer anything. Life with Emily and our child was a beautiful chaos, a whirlwind of sleepless nights, diaper changes, and endless laughter. Our home was filled with the sounds of a happy family, and each day brought new adventures and challenges. Parenthood had deepened our bond, revealing new depths of love and patience we hadn't known we possessed. One crisp winter morning, as I was getting ready for work, Emily approached me with a serious expression. "Mark, there's something I need to talk to you about," she said, her voice tinged with concern. I set down my coffee and turned to her, my heart skipping a beat. "What is it, Emily?" She took a deep breath, her eyes searching mine. "It's about your job. I know you love what you do, but I can see how much it's been wearing you down. You've been working late almost every night, and it's starting to affect your health and our time together." I sighed, running a hand through my hair. She was right. The demands of my job had been increasing, and the stress was starting to take its toll. I had been pushing myself to meet deadlines and expectations, often at the expense of my well-being and family time. "I know, Emily. I've been feeling it too, but I don't know what to do. I can't just quit." Emily reached out, taking my hand in hers. "I know it's not an easy decision, but maybe it's time to consider other options. There are other jobs out there, ones that might offer a better work-life balance. We can get through this together." Her words struck a chord, and I realized how much I had been neglecting not just my family, but myself. The thought of changing jobs was daunting, but the idea of continuing down the current path was even more so. "You're right, Emily. I need to make a change. For us and myself." We spent the next few weeks exploring new opportunities. Emily was my rock, helping me revise my resume, prepping for interviews, and providing unwavering support. It was a challenging time, filled with uncertainty, but knowing we were in it together made all the difference. One afternoon, after a particularly promising interview, I received a call from the hiring manager. They were offering me a position that not only matched my skills and interests, but also promised a much healthier work-life balance. The relief and excitement I felt were overwhelming, and I couldn't wait to share the news with Emily. "Emily, they offered me the job," I exclaimed as soon as I walked through the door. Her face lit up with joy, and she wrapped me in a tight hug. "That's amazing, Mark. I'm so proud of you. This is going to be so good for us." The transition to the new job was smoother than I had anticipated. The work was engaging, and the company culture prioritized employee well-being. For the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of balance and fulfillment in my professional life. With the added time and reduced stress, Emily and I were able to reconnect in ways we hadn't been able to before. We went on more dates, took weekend trips, and spent quality time with our child. The joy and love that had always been the foundation of our relationship blossomed even more. One evening, as we sat on the couch watching our child play, Emily turned to me with a smile. "You seem so much happier, Mark. It's like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders." I nodded, feeling the truth of her words. "I am happier, Emily, and it's all because of you. You helped me see what was important." Her eyes sparkled with emotion. "We're a team, Mark. We'll always figure things out together." As the months passed, our family continued to thrive. The challenges we faced only served to strengthen our bond and deepen our love. We learned to navigate the ups and downs with grace and humor, always supporting each other and keeping our focus on what mattered most. One spring afternoon, as we played in the park with our child, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. The journey had been far from easy, but it had brought us to this beautiful moment. Emily had been my anchor through the storm, and together we had built a life filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. As I watched Emily chase after our giggling child, I knew that whatever the future held, we would face it together, hand in hand. The past had taught us resilience, and the present was a testament to our love and commitment. With Emily by my side, I felt ready for anything, confident that we could conquer whatever challenges came our way. Life was unpredictable, but with the strength of our partnership and the love of our family, I knew that we would continue to thrive. Each day was a new adventure, and I couldn't wait to see what the future held for us. Our family continued to thrive, with each day bringing new joys and challenges. Emily and I settled into a harmonious routine, balancing work, parenting, and our relationship with a grace that felt almost effortless. Yet, as much as we cherished our everyday life, there was a lingering sense that something was missing. A sense of adventure, of stepping beyond our comfort zone to explore new horizons. One evening, as we sat together after putting our child to bed, Emily broached the subject. "Mark, I've been thinking about something," she began, her voice thoughtful. I looked at her, curious. "What is it?" "Well, we've talked about wanting to travel more, to show our child the world and experience new things together. What if we took a sabbatical? A few months off work to travel, explore, and spend time as a family?" The idea was both exhilarating and daunting. A sabbatical? That sounds amazing, but is it possible? With our jobs and everything. Emily smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. "I've been doing some research, and I think it is. My company offers sabbaticals, and I know your new job is flexible. We could plan it out, save up, and make it happen." "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Mark." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and the more we talked about it, the more the idea took hold. Over the next few weeks, we meticulously planned our sabbatical, choosing destinations that would offer both adventure and educational experiences for our child. We mapped out a journey that spanned several countries, each with its own unique culture and landscapes to explore. As our departure date approached, we informed our surprisingly supportive employers. Friends and family were excited for us, offering advice and encouragement. The anticipation built steadily, and before we knew it, the day had arrived. Our first stop was Japan, a country of rich history and stunning natural beauty. We marveled at the cherry blossoms in full bloom, explored ancient temples, and savored the incredible cuisine. Our child was fascinated by the vibrant culture, and seeing the world through their eyes brought a new dimension to our travels. From Japan, we journeyed to New Zealand, where we hiked through breathtaking landscapes and encountered wildlife that seemed almost mythical. The adventure continued in Europe, where we immersed ourselves in the art and history of Italy, France, and Spain. Each new destination was a treasure trove of experiences, and we relished every moment together. One evening, as we sat on a terrace overlooking the Amalfi Coast, Emily took my hand and smiled. "This has been everything I dreamed of and more, Mark. Thank you for believing in this adventure." I squeezed her hand, my heart full. "Thank you for making it possible, Emily. This time together, seeing the world, has been incredible. I wouldn't trade it for anything." Our journey brought us closer in ways we hadn't anticipated. We navigated challenges together, from missed flights to language barriers, each obstacle strengthening our bond. We discovered new facets of each other, and our child, deepening our understanding and appreciation of what it meant to be a family. As our sabbatical drew to a close, we found ourselves in the serene countryside of Ireland, staying in a quaint cottage surrounded by rolling green hills. One night, under a sky filled with stars, we reflected on our journey. "This has been the most amazing experience," Emily said softly, nestled against me. "But I'm also looking forward to going home, to our own space and routines." I nodded, understanding exactly what she meant. Me too. This trip has been incredible, but there's something comforting about returning to familiar ground. We've grown so much, and I feel like we're ready to take on whatever comes next. Returning home was both a bittersweet and joyful experience. We were greeted by friends and family, eager to hear about our adventures. Our home, which had felt so ordinary before, now seemed infused with the spirit of our journey, filled with souvenirs and memories from around the world. As we settled back into our routines, I noticed a change in all of us. The trip had given us a new perspective and a deeper appreciation for our lives and each other. Emily and I found ourselves more connected than ever, our bond strengthened by the shared experiences and challenges we had faced. One weekend, as we unpacked the last of our travel mementos, Emily looked at me with a smile. "You know, Mark, this trip was just the beginning. There are so many more adventures waiting for us, whether near or far. And I want to face them all with you." I pulled her into a hug, feeling a profound sense of contentment. "I couldn't agree more, Emily. Here's to all the adventures yet to come." Our journey around the world had been a transformative experience, reminding us of the importance of living fully and cherishing each moment. As we looked to the future, we knew that whatever it held, we would face it together, with love, courage, and an unquenchable thirst for adventure. After our whirlwind sabbatical, we returned home feeling invigorated and closer than ever as a family. Our adventures had left us with countless memories and a renewed appreciation for the life we had built together. Settling back into our daily routines was comforting, and our home felt like a sanctuary filled with the spirit of our travels. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, our child playing nearby, Emily turned to me with a contemplative expression. "Mark, there's something I've been thinking about," she said, her voice steady. I looked at her, sensing the gravity of her words. "What is it, Emily?" "I've been thinking about how we can give back. We've been so fortunate to have these incredible experiences, and I feel like we should do something to help others." Her words resonated deeply with me. Our travels exposed us to many different cultures and communities, some of which face significant challenges. "I agree," I said, nodding. "But what do you have in mind?" Emily smiled, her eyes lighting up with excitement. "What if we started a foundation or a project to support education and opportunities for underprivileged children? We've seen firsthand how important education is, and we could make a real difference." The idea was inspiring, and I felt a surge of enthusiasm. "That sounds amazing, Emily. Let's do it." We spent the next few weeks researching and brainstorming. Emily's passion for the project was infectious, and soon we had a clear vision. Our foundation would focus on providing scholarships, school supplies, and support for educational programs in communities we had visited and beyond. Launching the foundation was a monumental task, but we tackled it with the same determination and teamwork that had carried us through our sabbatical. We reached out to friends, family, and colleagues, sharing our vision and rallying support. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon we had the resources and backing we needed to get started. Our first initiative was a scholarship program for students in a rural village in Kenya Place that had left a lasting impression on us during our travels. We worked closely with local educators and community leaders to identify students who would benefit most from our support. Seeing the joy and gratitude on the faces of those students and their families was incredibly rewarding, reaffirming our commitment to the Foundation's mission. As the Foundation grew, so did our involvement. We organized fundraising events, partnered with other organizations, and expanded our reach to include more communities. Each success story fueled our passion, and the Foundation quickly became a central part of our lives. One evening, after a particularly successful fundraiser, Emily and I sat together, reflecting on how far we had come. I can't believe how much we've accomplished, Emily said, her eyes shining with pride. It's all thanks to you, Mark. Your support and dedication mean everything to me. I smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. It's thanks to us, Emily. We did this together, and I couldn't be prouder of what we've achieved. Our foundation brought new purpose and meaning to our lives, and it also strengthened our bond as a family. Our child grew up surrounded by the spirit of giving and community, learning the importance of empathy and compassion from a young age. Despite the demands of the foundation, we always made time for each other. We continued to explore the world, taking smaller trips and immersing ourselves in new cultures. Each journey added to our understanding of the world and reinforced our commitment to making a difference. One day, as we were preparing for a trip to South America to visit a school we had supported, Emily took my hand and looked at me with a warm smile. Mark, I love our life together. We've built something truly special, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I squeezed her hand, feeling a surge of love and gratitude. I love our life too, Emily. And I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. As we boarded the plane, I reflected on the incredible journey that had brought us to this point. From the pain and betrayal of my past to the joy and fulfillment of the present, every experience has shaped who we were and what we have become. Our love had not only healed old wounds, but it also inspired us to create a better world for others. The flight took off, and I looked out the window, feeling a profound sense of peace. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities and new adventures. And with Emily by my side, I knew that we would continue to make a difference, one step at a time. Our journey was far from over, but as we soared above the clouds, I felt an unshakable confidence in our path. Together we faced the darkest moments and emerged stronger, united by love and a shared vision of a better world. The past was behind us, and the future awaited, full of promise and hope. As years passed, our foundation flourished, touching the lives of countless children and families around the world. Emily and I continued to pour our hearts into the organization, driven by our shared passion for education and empowerment. Our child, now older and more involved, eagerly participated in fundraising events and volunteer activities, embodying the values of compassion and generosity that had become central to our family ethos. Amidst our busy lives with the foundation, Emily and I also focused on nurturing our relationship. We made a conscious effort to carve out quality time together, whether it was a quiet evening at home, exploring new hobbies, or taking short getaways to recharge. Our love had deepened over the years, strengthened by the challenges we had faced and the victories we had celebrated together. One summer evening, as we sat on our backyard patio savoring the warmth of the setting sun, Emily turned to me with a tender smile. Mark, do you remember when we first met and everything seemed so uncertain? I took her hand, tracing patterns with my thumb. Of course I remember, I replied softly. It feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Emily nodded, her eyes shimmering with nostalgia. It does. But look at us now. We've built this incredible life together, full of love, purpose, and adventure. I gazed into her eyes, overwhelmed by a rush of gratitude. You've been my rock, Emily, through everything. I don't know where I'd be without you. She leaned closer, resting her head on my shoulder. And you've been mine, Mark. We faced challenges, but we've also shared so much joy and fulfillment. As we sat there, bathed in the golden light of the evening, I thought about all that we had overcome. The pain of betrayal, the healing process, and the journey towards forgiveness and love. Our relationship had weathered storms and emerged stronger, a testament to our resilience and commitment to each other. In the quiet of that summer evening, surrounded by the love of my family and the memories of our shared adventures, I felt a profound sense of peace. Our journey together had been filled with unexpected twists and turns, but it had also been marked by an enduring love that had stood the test of time. As we prepared for another exciting chapter in our lives, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, with courage, faith, and an unwavering belief in the power of love. The future held endless possibilities, and with Emily by my side, I was ready to embrace them all. As the years continued to pass, our foundation grew in both scope and impact. becoming a cornerstone of our lives. We expanded our initiatives, reaching more communities and supporting a wider array of educational programs. The success of our efforts brought us recognition and admiration, but more importantly, it brought us a sense of fulfillment knowing that we were making a tangible difference in the world. Amidst our work with the foundation, Emily and I also focused on our personal growth and interests. I had taken up photography, capturing moments from our travels and everyday life, while Emily had immersed herself in gardening, transforming our backyard into a lush oasis of colors and fragrances. Our child had grown into a confident and compassionate young person with a deep-seated understanding of the importance of giving back. They actively participated in volunteer activities, showing a natural inclination towards leadership and service. One autumn evening, as we gathered around the dinner table, sharing stories of our day, Emily brought up an idea that sparked a lively discussion. "Mark, I've been thinking," she began, her eyes bright with excitement. "What if we expand our foundation's reach even further? What if we create a mentorship program for young adults to help guide them towards fulfilling careers and meaningful lives?" Her proposal resonated deeply with all of us. We discussed it late into the night, outlining potential strategies and goals. The idea of empowering the next generation filled us with renewed passion and purpose. Over the following months, we dedicated ourselves to launching the mentorship program. We reached out to professionals in various fields who shared our vision, recruiting them as mentors. We partnered with schools and community organizations to identify mentees who would benefit from guidance and support. The program quickly gained momentum, with mentors and mentees forming meaningful connections and achieving significant milestones together. It was incredibly rewarding to witness the impact firsthand as mentees gained confidence, developed new skills, and set ambitious goals for their futures. One afternoon, during a mentorship workshop, I found myself reflecting on our journey. The pain and betrayal of the past seemed like distant memories, overshadowed by the love, resilience, and sense of purpose that had defined our lives since. Emily's unwavering support had been the cornerstone of our success, her boundless optimism and determination inspiring me every day. As we celebrated another milestone for the foundation surrounded by mentors, mentees, and supporters, I looked at Emily with a smile. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" I said softly. She nodded, her eyes shimmering with pride. "We have, Mark, and I couldn't be prouder of what we've accomplished together." Our journey together had been marked by challenges and triumphs, by moments of doubt and moments of joy. Through it all, we had grown stronger as individuals and as a family, united by a shared vision of making a positive impact in the world. As we looked to the future, I knew that our work with the foundation would continue to evolve and expand, driven by our commitment to creating opportunities and empowering others. Together with Emily and our child by my side, I felt ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead, knowing that our love and determination would see us through. As our foundation continued to thrive, Emily and I found ourselves reflecting more deeply on the legacy we wanted to leave behind. Our work had surpassed our initial expectations, touching lives across continents and inspiring hope where it was needed most. Yet, we knew there was still more we could do. One evening, as we sat together in our cozy living room, sipping tea and watching the flames dance in the fireplace, Emily broached a topic that had been on both our minds. "Mark, do you ever think about what comes next for us? Beyond the foundation, I mean." Her question hung in the air, stirring a mixture of emotions within me. "I do," I admitted quietly. "We've achieved so much with the foundation, but I wonder what our next chapter will look like." Emily nodded thoughtfully. "I've been thinking about our community here and how we could make an even bigger impact locally. What if we started a community center or a program that supports families facing challenges, as we did?" Her suggestion struck a chord with me. We had always believed in the power of community and supporting those in need, and the idea of creating a tangible space for connection and support resonated deeply. "I love that idea, Emily," I said, smiling warmly at her. "A community center could be a place where people can come together, find resources, and build stronger bonds." Over the following months, we began laying the groundwork for our new venture. We met with local leaders, reached out to potential partners, and gathered input from community members. The response was overwhelmingly positive, reinforcing our belief in the need for such a space. With the same dedication and passion that had fueled our work with the foundation, we poured ourselves into creating the community center. It became a hub of activity, offering everything from childcare services to job training workshops, and hosting events that celebrated diversity and fostered unity. One spring afternoon, as we officially opened the doors to the community center, I stood alongside Emily, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. Our journey had taken us from heartbreak and betrayal to love, resilience, and a shared commitment to making a difference. As we welcomed families and individuals into the center, I couldn't help but reflect on the transformative power of love and determination. Emily had been my guiding light, inspiring me to believe in the possibility of healing and growth. Together, we had turned our pain into purpose, our doubts into determination, and our dreams into reality. Looking around at the smiling faces and hearing the laughter echoing through the halls of the community center, I knew that we had found our next chapter. Our work would continue to evolve, driven by our unwavering belief in the potential of individuals and the power of community. As we embraced each other, surrounded by the warmth and gratitude of those we had helped, I whispered to Emily, "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" She turned to me with a radiant smile. "Yes, Mark, and I can't wait to see where our journey takes us next." With our hearts full and our spirits soaring, we stood side by side, ready to face the future together, hand in hand. Whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead, we knew that our love and determination would light the way, guiding us toward a future filled with hope, possibility, and endless opportunities to make a difference. Months turned into years, and our community center became a thriving hub of support and connection. It was a place where people of all backgrounds could come together, find assistance, and build stronger bonds. Emily and I continued to pour our hearts into the center, organizing events, expanding programs, and nurturing relationships with community members. Our child had grown into a compassionate and driven young adult, eager to make their mark on the world. They had inherited our passion for helping others and had become actively involved in both the foundation and the community center, bringing fresh ideas and energy to our shared endeavors. One evening, as we sat together as a family in our favorite corner of the community center, a cozy lounge filled with books and artwork, a sense of nostalgia washed over me. "Do you remember when this was just an idea?" I mused, gazing around at the bustling activity. Emily chuckled softly. "It's hard to believe how far we've come. This place has become so much more than we ever imagined." Our child nodded, their eyes alight with pride. "It's incredible to see how many lives we've touched here. I'm so grateful to be a part of it." As we reflected on our journey, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the love and support that had carried us through the darkest moments and propelled us toward these moments of triumph. Emily had been my pillar of strength, guiding me through the pain of betrayal and helping me find my purpose in helping others. Looking back, I realized how our experiences had shaped us and brought us to where we were today. Our love had deepened with each challenge we faced together, and our shared commitment to making a difference had united us in a common purpose. As we prepared to celebrate another milestone for the community center, a gala fundraiser to support expanded programs, I took Emily's hand in mine, my heart overflowing with love and gratitude. "Thank you, Emily," I said softly, "for everything." She smiled warmly, squeezing my hand. "Thank you, Mark, for never giving up, for believing in us, and for making our dreams a reality." Our journey had been one of transformation, resilience, and unwavering determination. Together we had turned pain into purpose and uncertainty into hope. As we looked ahead to the future, I knew that whatever challenges and adventures awaited us, we would face them together, with love, courage, and an unshakable belief in the power of community and compassion. The day of the party arrived with a mix of anticipation and nerves swirling inside me. I had gathered friends, family, and supporters of our foundation and community center in our home for what I hoped would be a memorable evening. As the guests mingled and laughter filled the air, I found myself stealing moments to ensure everything was set for the pivotal moment of the evening. When the time felt right, I stood before our assembled guests, a sense of purpose guiding my words. "Thank you all for being here tonight," I began, my voice steady with emotion. "This journey we've been on together has been filled with challenges and triumphs, but through it all, your support has been unwavering." A hush fell over the room as I turned toward the large screen at the front. With a deep breath, I pressed play, and the room filled with images, photographs capturing the essence of our foundation's work, moments of joy and transformation we had shared with the communities we served. Interspersed were screenshots of messages and heartfelt letters from Kate, detailing her initial doubts, her growing admiration for our mission, and ultimately, her journey of healing and forgiveness. As the slideshow progressed, I saw tears glistening in many eyes and felt the weight of emotions that hung heavy in the room. Emily stood beside me, her hand finding mine, offering silent support and reassurance. Our child, now a young adult, watched with a mix of pride and understanding, recognizing the impact of our collective efforts on so many lives. When the last slide faded to black, I turned back to our guests, my heart overflowing with gratitude. "Tonight is not just a celebration of our achievements," I continued, my voice trembling with emotion. "It's a testament to the power of love, forgiveness, and the belief that together we can create positive change in the world." The room erupted into applause, a chorus of affirmation and support for our shared vision. Guests approached us with hugs, words of encouragement, and pledges of continued support for our endeavors. Amidst the joy and camaraderie, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that we had not only built a foundation and a community center, but had also fostered a network of compassion and hope that would endure long into the future. As the evening drew to a close, I found a moment alone with Emily in our garden, where we had planted seeds of both flowers and ideas years ago. "Thank you for believing in me, in us," I whispered, my voice filled with love and admiration. Emily turned to me, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. "Thank you for never giving up, for showing me the power of forgiveness and resilience." We stood together in silence, the night sky stretching overhead like a canvas of endless possibilities. Our journey had been marked by challenges and moments of doubt, but it had also been illuminated by love, purpose, and the unwavering belief that together we could make a difference. As we looked towards the future hand in hand, I knew that our story was far from over. Our foundation and community center will continue to grow, evolve, and touch the lives of countless others. With Emily and our child by my side, I was ready to face whatever challenges and adventures awaited us, knowing that our love and determination would guide us through. Together we had turned pain into purpose and uncertainty into hope. As we stood beneath the stars, surrounded by the echoes of laughter and the warmth of friendship, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought us to this moment. A moment filled with love, unity, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The day after the party, I received a call from Kate. Her voice was hesitant yet tinged with curiosity, as if she couldn't shake the images and messages she had seen the night before. "Mark," she began, her tone subdued. I don't know what to say." I listened quietly, sensing the weight of her words. "Kate, I understand this is a lot to process," I replied gently. "But I wanted you to see everything, to understand the journey we've been on." There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. Then Kate sighed softly. "I never realized. I never knew how much you've done, how much you've changed," she admitted, her voice cracking with emotion. I felt a pang of sympathy for her, knowing that the revelations must have stirred up a whirlwind of emotions. "Kate, I'm not asking for forgiveness," I said earnestly, "but I hope you can see that our work, our journey, it's about healing and making a positive impact." She was quiet for a while, processing my words. Finally, she spoke again, her voice steadier this time. "I need some time to think," she said quietly, "but thank you for showing me." As we ended the call, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions, relief, uncertainty, and a glimmer of hope. The conversation with Kate had opened a door, however cautiously, towards understanding, and perhaps even reconciliation. In the days that followed, I focused on our foundation and community center, pouring my energy into expanding programs and reaching out to more individuals in need. Emily and our child stood by my side, their unwavering support a source of strength as we navigated the complexities of our shared journey. Weeks turned into months, and I often found myself reflecting on the events that had brought us to this point. The revelations at the party had been a turning point, not just for Kate, but for all of us. It prompted deeper conversations, introspection, and a renewed commitment to our mission of compassion and transformation. One evening, as I walked through the community center, I noticed Kate standing by the bulletin board, reading through flyers and announcements. Her presence took me by surprise, and for a moment our eyes met, a silent acknowledgement of the distance we had traveled and the bridges we had yet to cross. "Kate," I greeted her tentatively, approaching with a mixture of apprehension and hope. She looked up, her expression a mix of emotions. "Mark," she replied softly, her voice tinged with vulnerability. I've been thinking." I nodded, giving her space to continue. "I've been thinking about what you said, about everything I saw," Kate admitted, her gaze sincere. I never knew." I swallowed, feeling a surge of gratitude for her openness. "Kate, I'm glad you saw it," I said sincerely. "Our journey hasn't been easy, but it's been about growth and finding a way forward." She nodded slowly, processing my words. "I'm not sure where we go from here," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I want you to know that I see what you've done, and I respect it." Her words hung in the air, carrying a weight of understanding and perhaps even a glimmer of forgiveness. As we stood there, surrounded by the echoes of laughter and the quiet hum of the community center, I realized that our journey toward healing and reconciliation was far from over. But at that moment, I found a renewed sense of hope, that with time, empathy, and continued efforts to make a difference, we could bridge the divides of the past and forge a path toward a future where forgiveness and understanding could bloom once more. Together, we had taken a step forward, acknowledging our shared humanity and the possibility of building a brighter tomorrow, one rooted in compassion and resilience. After showing the video at the party, the tension in the room was palpable, almost tangible. I stood before the guests, silently observing their reactions until the last image faded from the screen. A deep silence filled the hall, and I could sense everyone trying to grasp what they had just witnessed. Kate, my wife, stood amidst the crowd, her face reflecting mixed emotions. She paled and then attempted to slip away unnoticed, but I decided to intercept her. I blocked the door and approached her, trying to meet her eyes. "You need to see this through," I said softly yet firmly. My hand rested on the door handle, resolute. Kate paused and slowly turned, her eyes filled with tears and bewildered confusion. "Mark, what does all this mean?" Her voice was barely audible. "This is our life story, Kate," I continued, trying to steady my voice. "And I feel you need to see it all to understand how far we've come." She didn't reply, only stared at the screen, absorbed in the images and words that pieced together the puzzle of our fate. As the video neared its end, the tension in the room remained thick, as if the entire evening hinged on her reaction. When the final frames faded away, I felt a sense of relief that everything had been said, shown, and understood. I glanced at Kate, waiting as she absorbed everything she had seen and heard. She slowly looked up at me, her gaze filled with mixed feelings, hurt, understanding, and perhaps even a hint of forgiveness. "Mark, she began, her voice choked with emotion. I nodded gently, understanding that she needed time to process it all. "Kate, I'm not asking for forgiveness," I sincerely said. "But I hope now you see our whole story, all its complexities, and our efforts in seeking change." She nodded in response to my words, and I stepped aside, giving her space. Then, unexpectedly for everyone, I uttered the following words: "This is the end, Kate." I turned and slowly made my way to the exit of the room, feeling mixed emotions, from a sense of accomplished retribution to a profound emptiness inside. At the same time, I understood that this was not just the end of something old, but also the beginning of a new chapter in my life and our family's life.